Hey guys, so it's Kat coming at you with a story time. So, this story time is a little more on the sensitive side. It is a very, very sensitive topic that people can and some will be triggered by. So, I just want to put that out there before I begin with my story. Um, So basically, the story begins with my mom getting a boyfriend. His name, let's say, is Roberto. I don't know. So, I was about 7 at the time, and basically, our morning routine was that he would take my mom to work, come back home and wake me up, rape me, and then I would shower. And he would take me to daycare after that. And I would have to go through with a normal, like, day to day basis, like, normal life. And so I did know something was very wrong. When I was younger, because I would assume if nothing was wrong with it, more people would talk about it. But also, nowadays, if something is wrong, people will talk about it. So, I don't know. Um, like, at the time, people would talk about it. If it was a normal day to day thing. And basically, from daycare, I would go to school. And that's just where I had my normal esque life. Like, just knowing something was wrong all the time, but not being able to point it out or figure out specifically what it is that is bothering me because I was 7 and I didn't really know any better, as most 7-year-olds don't, because unfortunately, when you're young, even if you're as young as 7-year olds, yeah, I said that right. They don't they don't teach you about what is right and wrong. They don't tell you all of these things that you like. I'm 15 now. I'm no longer 7. I'm about to be 16 in a few weeks. I'm no longer a 7-year-old, and now knowing what happened to me being raped every single morning for 3 years and figuring out how wrong that was, and figuring out and realizing that I was not educated at any point from 7 to 11 years old, that I was not educated about rape and sexual abuse and assault and things like that, I find to be very scary. Like, I would be scared for my kid at the time. I don't know what they're teaching 7 to 11-year-olds anymore because I'm not that young anymore. But, like, they should know. Like, I still feel like I don't like putting fear in children. I hate that. I always hated when my mom tried to put fear in me. It's the worst thing. And I hate putting fear in children, but there are some things that children need to learn, because if they do not learn, they will not know what is right and what is wrong. And that is something that I just don't like. And I wish something would change about that, because children deserve to know what is right and wrong before something like this happens to them, or at least they know signs or something to tell them something is wrong, and to go to the proper people to help them with the situation, because if the situation is not helped, then what happened to me may happen to them, and that may be that they. So, my rapist ended up running off to a different country when I was 11. He decided to take a trip to a different country to visit his family, and he never came back. Never saw him again. He's not even in the United States. We know that for a fact. And that's just what kind of sucks, is that my rapist got away. And one thing I do know is that the woman that he ran off with, or that my mom and I found out he ran off with, had an 11-year-old child. An 11-year-old little girl. So I don't know what happened to her, what happened to him at all. I don't even know what happened to his family. Because I I still feel like I could have done something, but also I can't go back to blaming myself, because I know that I was young and I did not know what was wrong, and I overall just didn't know what was happening. So I don't really blame myself. I don't blame myself at all for that. I just hope that nothing bad happened to that little girl, because that would be awful. And so I also decided to look up right now, while I'm doing this recording, to look up at what age does the average female get raped? Let's look at some statistics. So, I don't know how accurate this is, so I want to look at some. So, I'm on rain with 2n's.org, and it says that child sexual abuse is a widespread problem every 9 minutes. Child Protective Services sustains or finds evidence for a claim of child sexual abuse. And then going back to victims of sexual violence, every 92 seconds an American is sexually assaulted. So that right there just tells us what happens. And this is just in America itself. Like, this is just in America itself. How many seconds do you think someone is being raped all across the world? I would say not 92 seconds. Not even close to 92 seconds. Probably, my guess would probably be, I don't know, maybe every 5 to 10 seconds, I want to say. Another one from WCSAP. It's a sexual assault program for survivors, and it says sexual assault in the United States. Somewhere in America, a woman is raped every 2 minutes. 22% of victims were younger than the age of 12 when they were first raped, and 32% were between the ages of 12 and 17. Of surveyed college women, about 90% of rape and sexual assault victims knew their attacker prior to the assault. National surveys of adults suggest that between 9 and 32% of women and 5 to 10% of men report that they were victims of child abuse and or assault during their childhood. I was 7 to 11 years old when I was being raped, or as they use here, sexually assaulted. And that is really what sucks, because not only are the numbers going up every single day, it's very difficult for anyone, really, because that's a lot of people. That's a lot of women and just people in general being raped and sexually assaulted, because it's just awful. Like, it's one of those things that you're like, well, this is never gonna happen to me, and then one day it may happen, unfortunately. That's what I thought when I was younger. Even growing up, that's what I thought. And this is for another story, but it's attempted to happen again. And this time I did not let it slide, not by one bit. But yeah. So basically, stick this into your brain. Every 92 seconds, someone is being raped, male or female. A lot of us are some do not survive, unfortunately. Some do not make it out of that, and that really sucks. And I'm not saying being a survivor is bad. I never say I would regret surviving a sexual assault, but it does put pressure on you, not just for your future, but also for people you trust and things like that. It makes you be more careful, if that makes sense. And I personally am happy that I'm a survivor, because even though what I just went through a few weeks ago, which I will talk about in another video, I am happy to be alive, even though neither were very abusive. Even though neither were very mean and always seemed very nice, but that's what's difficult. And I wish I could teach younger children about a topic like this, because they deserve to know before it happens to them. They do deserve to know. They deserve to know what happened to them, what's happening to them, and or what may happen to them, or what not may happen to them. But you never know in this world, in this life. You never know what may or may not happen to you, and that's a downfall. So like I said before, he did end up leaving the country, so he cannot be imprisoned for the 3 years of rape. And that really, really sucks. But I mean, now there's nothing I can do to take that back. I mean, if I knew what was happening and I knew I could change something, I would have, but I was so young that I did not know what was happening, unfortunately. So yeah, that is my first story time on this channel. I know it's a very sensitive topic for a story time, or for the first video I ever put out on this channel, but hopefully it'll help someone in the future. But yeah, this is goodbye for now, and I'll see you guys in a different video. Bye.